everyone, Artemu the Violet Wizard here, and today we return to Pokémon Emerald. Last time we caught 3 legendary Pokémon, and I was not expecting to actually get them all in a single stream session, but here we are. Today, we return once more to the Battle Frontier so that we can take on the first facility of this area that I wanted to cover. The Battle Factory. This is honestly my favorite facility out of everything at the Battle Frontier. As we're going to see here, it's just a very cool area, where the intelligence of trainers is put to the test. Welcome to the Battle Factory! I'm your guide to the Battle Swap Single Tournament. Would you like to take the Battle Swap Single Challenge? Sure. Which level do you wish to challenge? Level 50 or open level? Now, open level is an interesting rule set throughout the Battle Frontier, where in most facilities, it makes it so that your opponents will be equal level to the highest level Pokemon that you send out in battles. But here in the Battle Factory, Pokemon will all be level 100, for reasons that we'll see very soon. For this challenge, we're going to start with level 50. Before you begin your challenge, I need to save the game. Is that okay? Yep. Of course, you need to save your game before taking on these challenges. Can I just say, I love the music here, it's just so funky. Please, step this way. This is a very nice techno bop, I love it. I conducted a little investigation about your upcoming opponent. The trainer appears to have no clear favorites when it comes to type. The favorite battle style appears to be one of endurance. First, we'll hold your Pokemon for safekeeping. You may then choose from our selection of Pokemon. So if you remember the Slateport battle tent that we encountered much earlier on in the journey, that's pretty much a tutorial for this battle facility. We have our choice of various rental Pokemon that we can use in battle. We're able to check their summary before we rent them, just to get a good idea on what these Pokemon are like in battle. This area is actually pretty neat. Do some good damage with that signal beam. Could be very helpful. Scrymer. It's a little on the weak side, but yeah, this thing is mainly built for stall strategies. And since our opponent seems like they're going to be focusing on endurance, that doesn't seem like an option I really want to use. So of course, when going into these facilities, the guide there will give you a hint about what the trainer you'll be facing has. Oh look, a Delibird with an actually usable moveset, go figure. Actually has decent special attack and speed. I could actually see myself using a Delibird for once. Aron, we've had a lot of experience with this thing before. Its moves are alright. Kabuto would be very cool. Definitely got some good power on it. And some nice moves. So I got an interesting idea on what I'm going to use here. I think I want to lead with Combuskin, because obviously I've had a lot of experience with this being good. I'm kind of leaning on Gyarados because it's got some nice power behind it, and Kabuto has a nice set of attacks behind it. Just like in the battle tent, you get to select 3 rental Pokemon to battle with. Right this way, please. And for all that, we will probably be doing relatively well here. So exciting, it really is! And as we go into our first battle, let me just give a brief explanation about what this stream session is going to entail, obviously. So for this session here, we are going to be exclusively spending our time at the Battle Factory. Just doing a bunch of battles here, see how we're able to go up in the rankings and just try to see if we can get to the boss of this area. I'm not guaranteeing we'll actually get to face the boss, but if we do, that would be very nice. And in between the stream sessions, I would like to challenge this facility again, just so I can hopefully build up some more BP for various prizes that we can get, that I'm kind of looking forward to getting, especially with how I want my a final team to look. It's already got an interesting set of Pokemon here. Also, when you're challenging the battle facilities here, expect to see Pokemon that are not normally found in the Hoenn decks. Because, yeah, there's a lot of Pokemon here that we have not seen in our previous journey, like that Porygon and this Execute we saw. Also Lady Ann, but for different reasons. Already, Combusken is really proving itself as a good powerhouse here. On the level 50 rule set, for this challenge, all Pokemon are set to a flat level 50. And I want to say that the Pokemon in here have... I think all the rental Pokemon might have perfect IVs, and all of their EVs maybe just blank in order to ensure that they are about as balanced as you can get here. Obviously, some Pokemon are still better than others, but under a lot of circumstances, you could actually see yourself using a lot of unorthodox Pokemon that you wouldn't normally see. And there's a lot of Pokemon I can recommend using here that I wouldn't recommend using in a normal playthrough just because of their different play styles. Make them much more easier to use here than they would against some of the challenges and the different bosses you encounter in the story mode. I'm perfectly fine with going forward. The trainer's apparently skilled in the handling of the grass type. Favorite battle style appears to be weakening the foe to start. I got a pretty good team for going up against grass types, so I think we're going to be fine not switching any of our Pokemon. Just like the battle tent, after you beat an opponent, you are able to exchange one of your Pokemon for one of theirs. However, you cannot check the stats of the Pokemon you are switching, which means that you have to pretty much memorize what that Pokemon had in their moveset in order to get a good idea on how it would fit into your team. So yeah, Battle Factory, it has a lot of thought behind building your team and just trying to figure out the best strategies for dealing with all these different threats. And I really like that aspect of this area. The other facilities definitely have their gimmicks to them, but on Battlefront, the Battle Factory is just a good time all around. See here, I am in a perfect position to use Kabuto's Protect in order to prevent Murkrow from hitting me with Fly. Like, that is great. I wouldn't normally build a Kabuto to have this move, but under this circumstance, it's good to have here. Okay, I see Murkrow using Taunt there to make it so that I can't use that strategy again. Taunt is an interesting move that prevents the opponent from using any attack that... Ooh, that's good. Prevents the opponent from using any attack that doesn't deal direct damage. So basically, any stat-lowering moves, moves I can use to protect you, healing moves, all that is out the window. You have to go with damage. And Torment, as we know from much earlier in adventures, once it's active, you cannot repeat the same move once in a while. Every 2 turns in a row, I mean. Alright, Weeping Bell. I definitely want to switch out Kabuto against this thing. Another thing to know about this area, with the various battle facilities here. The rule set for this area is the battles are in set mode. They are not in switch, so you don't get a prompt telling you what your opponent is going to be sending out, giving you the option to switch your Pokemon in order to be prepared for that. If you want to switch out Pokemon, you have to take a turn, and that can definitely make the battles here a lot more formidable than anything that we have seen from our other challenges throughout the story. All in all, it definitely adds a lot more challenge to the battle facilities in the Battle Frontier. But overall, still makes them very compelling, and for the most part, a fair challenge. For the most part, we'll get into that eventually. Alright, ready to go into our third match. The trainer appears to have no clear favorites when it comes to type, so we can expect to see anything. I'm perfectly fine with the team I got now. That Murkrow was pretty interesting, had some nice status moves, but I'm perfectly fine with this. Apparently this guy's favorite drink is Yahoo Soda. That was a very niche Hey Arnold reference I don't expect many people to get. Leading off with Sableye. That's going to be a tricky opponent to fight. As I said before in this adventure, Sableye is one of the few Pokemon that does not normally have a weakness. At least in this generation. If you're playing Gen 6, then just nail this thing with Fairy-type moves and you're good. But here in Gen 3, this thing can be tricky to deal with. Ooh, Combuskin did get a good crit on that. He's using Knockoff, which can be a little bad. Now, pretty much every Pokemon that you rent here has a held item that can also be used to benefit them. As you saw there, our Combuskin has a Scope Lens, which helps increase their critical hit rate. Alright, Marshtomp, I definitely want to switch you out here. Both these options are interesting. Probably going to go with Kabuto, because Kabuto does have Mega Drain, which will do a lot of damage to Marshtomp and hopefully heal up any damage we take. Ooh, we were lucky enough to miss that. That Mud Shot could have done a lot of damage to Kabuto. Yeah, and since we're in this facility and dealing with a lot of Pokemon that we have not seen up to this point, my usual thing about going into, like, the overall statistics and the usability of various Pokemon, it's definitely going to be a lot less here. Yeah, I was not excited about that. Kabuto fainted, which gives us one less Pokemon to use in this battle. I would actually like to bring that Marshtomp into my team after this fight, because it's a very solid Pokemon. Its only weakness is to Grass, and I have two Pokemon that counter that weakness very well. So this Gyarados has quite a few nice strategies here. Spider Web prevents your opponents from switching out. Nightshade does a set damage based on the levels. In this case, it'll deal 50 set damage. And Toxic is good if you're dealing with very bulky Pokemon, as it badly poisons the opponent and makes it so that they will continuously take more and more damage as the turns go on. I think we're going to go with Signal Beam, though. Just a very solid bug move that also has a nice effect of being able to confuse. And with that, Arios was able to take out Marshtomp. It's something I can recommend Ariados for. It does have good attack power. It's just not as hard-hitting as some other bug types that we have seen on this adventure, like Heracross and Pinsir. It does have its uses, though, and Bug Poison is an interesting type. Flaffy here, as we all know from my gold streams. Oh boy, this thing is good. Not too worried about that paralysis, not too worried about that light screen. Alright, Ariados was able to get the kill, very nice. Goodbye, goodbye. Goodbye to you, sir. Alright, I definitely want that Marshtomp. That's a solid Pokemon to have here. Trainers apparently skilled the handling of the Ice type. Favorite battle style appears to depend on the battle's flow. So I expect to see Ice type Pokemon here. Kabuto would be helpful for this fight, but I definitely think in the long term that Marshtomp will be the Pokemon I want for my team. Also, hey, we got 2 starter Pokemon in this team. That is another nice thing about this facility. You can encounter starter Pokemon as rentals here, even ones from the other generations, which is nice. Kind of a downside to seeing all of these Pokemon you wouldn't normally see is that any Pokemon you encounter in the battle facilities, they don't count to the Pokédex. So any new Pokemon you see here won't be counted as seen, which is very unfortunate. I would have liked it if it does fill up pages in your Pokédex like that and gives you an idea on how to obtain certain Pokemon, especially ones that we haven't seen throughout our main story adventure. But, you know, it's not really that big a deal, especially with there being guides online and stuff. And I actually do have a guide about where to obtain Pokemon in the Gen 3 games that I got way back when I was in school many years ago. So I'm not too bothered by any of that. It was a good resource for telling me all the things I need. In fact, there was some Pokemon that I straight up did not know how to obtain until I got that guidebook. Like, I had no idea how to specifically find Bagon or Relicanth when I was a kid. Hell, I didn't even know Relicanth was a thing until I actually got that guidebook. Yeah, this battle really doesn't look like it's that tough. What's nice is that when you begin your challenges here in the battle facilities, they don't just start off like really big right from the get-go. The difficulty of this place is very specific, where they gradually increase the difficulty of the fights as you progress further and further in the rankings. So, for the time being, we're just enjoying some pretty relaxing battles. Nothing has been really that stressful so far. I'm fine with going further. Trainer appears to have no clear favorites when it comes to type. So we can expect another battle that will be very diverse. I don't feel like swapping any Pokemon. I am very fine with my current team. Though that Celio would have been a nice addition to us. Very bulky, got some nice offensive and defensive typing. Could have been good. School Kid Elise. Good, it's everyone's least favorite Sonic character. I mean, that's kind of relevant. I have been streaming a Sonic game on the side. Spin it here shouldn't be too bad. It does naturally learn Psychic Attack, so... Well, that could have been trouble, but it decided to go for Feint Attack, which really does nothing to Combusken. Alright, what's this thing got as its item? Citrus Berry? Yeah, expect to see quite a few Citrus Berries. So these items really aren't as good as they are in later generations. In Gen 3, Citrus Berries only heal a set 30 HP. Starting Gen 4, however, these items were buffed significantly. So now they do 30% of your Pokemon's max HP. They are much better items in future games, which is why I really didn't focus too much on getting Citrus Berries for my Pokemon. They just wouldn't have worked all that good. Poliwhirl really isn't too bad in terms of stats. I think going with the Signal Beam is a pretty good strategy here. Fun fact, Poliwhirl is actually Pokemon creator Satoshi Tajiri's favorite Pokemon. And I do really like it. It's a simple design, but come on, just look at this thing and you think Pokemon. It's so good. Of course, I managed to get a 5-hit combo on me, but that's fine. Ariados should get the kill there. Usually on edge when it comes to attacks that deal over... moves that do manage to deal over 50 damage. Because in my mind I'm thinking, okay, was that the high damage roll or the low damage roll? And under those circumstances, that just kind of leaves me very concerned for how the battle will fare. So we were just unable to get the KO there. See what I mean? It was probably a low damage roll. Otherwise, Marshtomp would have definitely KO'd this Flappy. And her speed lowered, but we should still be fine. There is nothing this Flappy can do to really take out a Marshtomp. I mean, we've seen earlier in this adventure just how tough to take out a Marshtomp can be. Between its fantastic typing and defensive stats, it's a 10. Forgive me, Father, for I've lost. Apparently this girl is Catholic. Thank you for competing. Let's restore your Pokemon. The 6th match is next. So this will be the penultimate battle of our current streak. This will be interesting. Trainer appears have no clear favorites when it comes to type. Favorite battle style appears to be weakening the foe to start. No, I don't think I'll swap. We are still going very strong here. So considering the guy that gives us tips before each battle, his tips will start to be a lot less helpful as we advance in the rankings, which will make things a little more interesting here, to say the least. I really am not happy to start with Kadabra here, because two of our Pokemon are weak to Psychic. Best bet here is to go to Marshtomp and just hope we can KO this thing quickly. Roleplay. That is interesting. Copies the abilities of the target Pokemon. It's really an uncommon move, but it can be helpful in a lot of situations. I even think it became a TM in later games. So hopefully we can take this. So I know that the Marshtomp family tends to be a bit more of a physical tank. Okay, yeah, one more hit and we should take out this Kadabra. Alright, those speed drops really came in handy because Marshtomp was able to finally outspeed Kadabra there. Very good, although we're going to take the Future Sight hit, which is a little annoying. Yep, here comes Future Sight, but it failed. Not bad. I definitely want to swap here because, yeah, keeping Marshtomp out against a grass type like Parasect, not a good idea. Luckily, Ariados is a really good pick for this thing, as it resists both of Parasect's stab typings, and yeah, Parasect really isn't that threatening when it comes to attacks. Oh, it has Psybeam. Interesting. Yeah, that's definitely something to expect here. A lot of the Pokemon that you get in the rental battles will also have egg moves that they cannot normally obtain, such as the case with this Parasect and Psybeam. Because, really, when do you expect to see a Parasect use a Psychic move? I mean, besides Psycho Cut, but, you know. And finally we got Mawile. It's really one Pokemon I can really see being used against this thing, and that's Combusken. Pretty much resist everything this thing can do to us. Unless, of course, it somehow knows unless, of course, it can learn a ground-type attack, but I think we're relatively good here. I made a solid hit there with a double kick, and yeah, Baton Pass really not helpful when you're the last Pokemon on your team, buddy. Alright, as you can see there, things are definitely amping up. We got kind of a bit of a scare with that Kadabra and with that... Alright, if we're going into the 7th match... Okay, yeah. The hint there tells us our opponent specializes in poison. I think now is a good time to switch one of our Pokemon. Ariados, you have been good to us so far, but I want Kadabra. Just, come on. It's Kadabra. It's fast, it's powerful, it just can't be beat. Me worry? I have none. What is with your grammar, lady? Alright, Amelia? Leading with a Leap. That is not a poison type, but it's still fine. It's a grass rock type, so Combusken will easily be able to handle this thing. Depending on what moves it's got. It does have some interesting attacks. Okay, I guess Acid is fair. This is going to be a little tricky because... Okay, if the next Pokemon is Tentacool, I think I'm going to switch to Marshtomp for this one. Mainly because I'm worried about Kadabra taking an unnecessary hit here, and I'm not too worried about Tentacool having anything that can deal with Marshtomp. Because I really don't see this thing having any grass moves. Okay, we'll buff its defense with Barrier. That is a little annoying, but we should still have a good chance of taking this thing out. Oh yeah, one more hit and we're good. Alright, Tentacool goes down. What's your final Pokemon? It's probably going to be something intense here. Coughing. I mean, alright, I guess. Also, yeah, I know that there's a bag option here in the menu. but it is completely superfluous. You cannot use items at all when challenging the battle facilities. And yeah, this Coughing is the last Pokemon she's got, so I'm just gonna try and wing it with Marsh Tomb. I know Kadabra would have been nice to use here, considering it was a poison specialist here, but really, in this circumstance, I just don't want Coughing to get a nasty KO if it manages to take out a Kadabra. And man, this Coughing really doesn't have a good strategy. I mean, it lead with Smokescreen, which would have been good. Then it had to go to Haze and just completely get rid of its own stat debuff. See? That was entertaining! And with that, we win. You won 7 straight Battle Swamp matches. In recognition of your wealth of knowledge and keen intelligence, we award you these battle points. And we get free battle points for winning 7 battles in a row. Let me exchange your Pokemon for a rental Pokemon. I need to save the battle data, so please wait. And record your last Battle Factory match on your Frontier Pass. So this is another way of using the Frontier Pass. We can record one of our battles had at any of the facilities here and have it available on the Frontier Pass. That is what the battle record here is for. Just click on it and it'll play the last battle that you were a part of. Of course, I don't really need that, so we're just going to ignore it. And I believe over here we can check this board. Okay, I was wrong. That is all the basic rules about this place. I want to check the monitor here. And this shows your statistics for the different battles fought here. Showing your current win streak and your record, or the wins when taking on the challenges, how many times you've rented and swapped Pokemon, and for both level 50 and open level challenges. So let's continue our level 50 streak. Managed to win 7 battles in a row, but we could do better than that. Before you begin your challenge, you need to save the game, of course. So we had a pretty decent first run in the Battle Factory so far. Of course, things are going to get harder ahead as we blaze further on. I conduct a little investigation with your upcoming opponent. Train is fairly skilled at handling of the flying type. Okay, so we know our opponent is dealing with flying type, so it gives us a pretty good idea on which Pokemon to start off with. It's kind of a lower on the stats side, but Minun is pretty compelling as a good Pokemon to use. Just to start off, I'll definitely be switching it out, but it's interesting. Croconaw could be really good for us. Machoke be good for some later battles. Mantine would be really good here. It's a tank, and a very good one. Especially when you're faced up against water types. Look at that special defense. Yeah, this thing is a tank. It's got very good moves. I'm definitely picking Mantine for the team. That's really good. And for these remaining Pokemon, what do we want? Ninjaska is very fast, but it's kind of frail, and its moves are mainly set up for boosting other Pokemon. Azumarill could be good because it's got huge power. That in tandem with Facade could be really interesting, but yeah, no. Machoke, meanwhile, let's look at this. Of course, a very strong Pokemon. Wish its moves were a bit better, but still alright. And Croconaw, a fan favorite from the 2nd generation. Just good power overall, decent bulk. And yeah, just look at those moves, very good. Hang on. Yeah, I have a good feeling about this team. Might want to switch things around a bit, because we do have quite a big electric weakness here. But for the time being, these Pokemon are pretty good. Right this way. What are you up to? I was kind of hoping this guy would say, what are you doing here? You know, because I've been such a Bojack mood the last couple of months. leading off with Pelipper. That's a very good Pokemon for my little Minun to go up against here. Yeah, this thing is just not going to be too bad depending on what moves it has. I think Minun tends to be the more defensive of the two Pokemon in its lineage, so that is kind of helpful here. And yep, Pelipper goes down very easily to this thing. Just no trouble at all. Okay, what is trouble is this thing, Wobbuffet. Just quickly want to show there, yep, Wobbuffet still has Shadow Tag as its ability. I really don't have anything that's going to be very good against this thing, unfortunately. Like, there's no reason using Charm against it because it can't deal direct damage. It only reflects damage back. Encore would be good to lock it into a certain move so that I can reliably use Spark if I manage to lock it out of doing a Mirror Coat. But this is going to be weird. We're pretty much, yeah, we are locked into using Minun against this thing. Luckily, Wobbuffet is using Charm, which is one of its moves that it gets back in its back in the Why Not stage of its life cycle. But yeah, with this, we're pretty much just have to go with Minun here. At the very least, Spark is not a physical move in this generation, so we don't have to worry about our attack getting lowered over and over against this thing. So yeah, basically our strategy right now, just try to whittle this thing down. If it breaks out of the Encore, we'll use it again to make sure that Wobbuffet can't counter us, and we should be good. That is a thing with these facilities. If you run into a Wobbuffet, they can just completely derail whatever strategies you have. Because this thing has a lot of HP, it's able to counter attacks dealt against it. It's a pain to deal with. That's why it became so popular in battles in the metagame. Luckily, we should be very close to beating this thing. Let's do another round of Encore just to make sure we don't get countered. Alright. Should be just at the end of this now. There we go, we even get a critical hit. Good work, Minun. First battle on the team, man. You're actually pulling through very nicely. And final Pokemon is Swellow. Okay, it's going for Fly. That's something I didn't want to see there. But it's not going to do a whole lot of damage to Minun, really. Yeah, we resist flying moves, so we're good. So as we're finishing up this fight, what is something I could discuss lately? I guess one thing is that they're doing an event in a Pokemon Shield where if you do max rate battles, you have a decent chance of running into a Gigantamax Lapras, which I'm excited for. Lapras is one of my favorite Pokemon, and I've definitely been meaning to get its Gigantamax version. So I'm definitely going to be trying to do as many max rates as I can lately. Yeah, no, given our current team setup, I do not want to swap for what we just had. So now the thing lately is, since it's a new month, things have been changing significantly in Animal Crossing. I managed to catch the very last fish I needed for my museum's fish collection. Shizuka. Is that actually a name? Chansey! This is an interesting Pokemon here. In that, don't go at this thing with special attacks. Yeah, between these guys, let's go with Croconaw. Chansey is an interesting Pokemon. It has some of the highest HP of any Pokemon, but its attack is garbage, so it's not really good at dealing damage. its defense is abysmal. It doesn't really make the use of that. But it has an incredibly high special defense stat. This thing is one of the best special tanks in the game. I can definitely recommend using these things in online matches. So we can get a crit with Slash, that would be very nice, like that. Get past this thing's defense curl so that we can deal some nice damage to it. This thing also does have that very annoying metronome move, allowing it to just do whatever it wants. As you can see there from what it healed up with the Citrus Berry, that was only 30 HP. Really shows just how tanky Chansey is. Easily one of the best tanks in the game. As long as it's, you know, only dealing damage on the special side. Only taking damage on the special side, I mean. It was actually kind of scary that Finn managed to get Ice Ball, because like Rollout, it does the damage of the move increases the more it hits. Alright, Shelgon. I would like to switch out to Mantine for this, but I think I'm just gonna let Croconaut try to deal some damage here and make sure that we are able to... Yeah, let's soften it up for Mantine. Because otherwise I don't see Croconaut doing anything else in this battle. Oof. Just hung on, but we got paralyzed. That's not good. Okay, yeah, Croconaut's going down. But this gives us a free switch into Mantine. Which is good, because the Shelgon might have mainly a special moveset. And yeah, I can definitely recommend Mantine. It also has good HP and very high special defense. I really can't recommend it enough. Not only that, but it has a pretty good offensive moveset in this battle facility. Being able to take advantage of its strengths very nicely. It's all in all a very good Pokemon. And our final opponent here is Poliwrath, the water fighting evolution of the Poliwhirl we saw earlier. Yeah, this thing is going to hit pretty hard, both in the physical and special range. It's got decent bulk overall. This thing can be a little tricky to deal with. Of course, it has Submission, which is a double-edged type move, in that it does recoil damage when used. So, we're really not going to be... Really? It's using Dig against a flying type. Well, there's not much I can do to this thing right now, so let's just go to Rain Dance. I don't know what this thing's strategy is. Why would you consciously use Dig against a flying type? Oh man, this game sometimes. I just barely hung in there, but... What are you doing? Oh man, this is crazy, you know? I don't know why the AI's derping on me here, but okay. Alright, Mantine will get the KO on the Poliwrath, and we're good. Very nice. So as I was saying earlier about Animal Crossing, it's a new month, and of course things are changing a lot on the island. Especially because it is December, which means Toy Day is coming up! So yeah, Toy Day is a very important holiday in the Animal Crossing world. Of course it's Christmas, and... that tends to lead to a lot of things, especially with the whole gift-giving thing, because there's definitely a lot of fun interactions you can have with your villagers. And that... I just want a quick refresher on what my opponent had. They had Chansey, Poliwrath, and Shelgon. Considering what we were dealing with before... My team does have quite a bit of an electric weakness here. I can see either Shelgon or Chansey being good for this. Shelgon resists electric, and Chansey's able to take electric-type moves very well due to it having just so much HP and special defense. Why not? Let's go for Chansey. This will be interesting, because I don't really use Chansey under normal circumstances. But when dealing with rental battles here, it can definitely be an option. Adding to that, I just really love the rental aspect of the Dynamax adventures they have in Pokemon Sword and Shield's DLC. Okay, I see here, yeah, this Chansey is a very support-focused moveset. Considering what I really got, there's really nothing that I have that's really good against this Sneasel. Screw it, let's try to go at this thing with just Chansey. Okay, it does have Fake Out, which is kind of annoying, but still fine. So what we'll do here, let's use Minimize to make us harder to hit. Then we'll go to Defense Curl to make us a little bit tankier. Don't have to worry about that too much, because, yeah, we're a special tank. And both of Sneasel's stab attacks are special, so there's that. Alright, let's go with Metronome. So this is an interesting move that we have on this Pokemon, whereas its only real source of offensive power. Metronome is an interesting attack, as I believe I have said previously in our wow, that is... I know Chansey has really terrible physical attack, but that was abysmal. Metronome will randomly select a move from the entire move list to use. And yeah, that can be very interesting. We got a Bone Club there, which is interesting because that is a signature move of a specific Pokemon. Mach Punch. That's actually a really... Okay, that is a move that does 4 times damage to Sneasel, given that it's an Ice Dark type, and the fact that it did so little damage really goes to show that, yeah, Chansey, it's a tank. It's really not built for dealing damage. Icy Wind, of course, not the best, because that's one of the few types Sneasel actually resists. I'm probably going to switch out Chansey once we run out of PP for Metronome, because there's really not much else we can. Okay, I guess Mist is fine. What does that do again? So I believe Mist prevents our stats from being lowered by the opponent. I can see that being helpful, especially with Icy Wind messing with our speed. Oh, Leech Seed! That's actually really good! That's a tremendous move to have on a tank. Unfortunately, Chansey doesn't get this move by level up, but it is helpful being able to leech HP, and especially with Chansey having so much HP, that it's able to recover so much from that. Really good. Really? You get Tackle, the most generic attack out of everything in the entire move list. Yeah, we're dealing more damage just from the Leech Seed than we are from any of our other attacks. Really? We got Transform! Again, this is what I really love about the rental battles. You just get so much weird shit thrown at you like this. I wonder, would we actually be able to use Fake Out? No, because we did technically already have our first turn. This is so weird! Just having this fight against the Sneasel and a Chansey, and we use Transform! So now we're just fighting it as a Sneasel. What? And we somehow managed to KO it! This fight is weird, man! Okay, now I definitely want to switch out for this thing. Hitmonlee, that thing will destroy Chansey. Especially because it's currently swapped into a Sneasel. Yeah, we're going with Mantine. Which is a little tricky because we're not going to be good at taking its physical attacks, but we are super effective, so... Alright, that was a lot less damage than I was hoping for Okay, not very good, but it should be pretty close to being taken out. Alright, just really not looking forward to that. Sorry, Mantine. You are good, just not equipped for dealing with physical attackers. Croconaw, show him how it's done. We're a lot less tanky here, but we should be a bit better at damage. Okay, that is disappointing. I forgot that rolling kick has that flinch chance. Alright, water pulse should still be fine here. Alright, if we can just get 1 or 2 more hits, we got this. There we go! Hitmonlee is down. Whew, that was pretty scary. And finally, Pupitar. Yeah, I know, don't laugh. That's an interesting Pokemon, definitely one of the stronger ones, even if it hasn't reached its full potential yet. And of course, we were able to easily handle that with our typing. It's actually a very solid Pokemon I can recommend in the rental battles here. Alright, that was an interesting battle for a variety of reasons. I'll give it that. Alright, 4th match. We're about halfway through this round. Trainer players have no clear favorites when it comes to type, so we can expect to see pretty much anything. Given how things went, I am actually inclined to switch. Chansey, you are interesting, but you're definitely not a permanent team member. As I said before, we do have quite an electric weakness with our current team. I'm going to switch in Pupitar. It could be very helpful to us. Just overall a very solid Pokemon, even if it does have some common weaknesses. My bike is very expensive, Douglas. Dahlia, what do you got for us? Sableye, alright. Pupitar here. We could go for the Sandstorm and... So look at your stats here. Alright, you have shed skin. It's really not the best. When I'm picking here, let's go for Sandstorm. I'm not sure if we get the special defense buff on rock types in this generation. Yeah, I haven't really looked that up since that one thing where I was curious about it, but it is something to definitely watch out for here. Yeah, mainly going for Sandstorm just to do a bit of chip damage against this thing. While we're waiting on that confusion to fade... Actually, what am I thinking? We're confused. Let's just switch out. Alright, Croconaw, you should be... This is how it's gonna go, isn't it? We're just gonna switch between our Pokemon against this thing until it just stops using Confuse Ray. That's just kind of how things go in these battles. You encounter so many different strategies here. Alright, we'll put Pupitar back in because we're not damaged by Sandstorm as long as we have Pupitar. Mantine would actually be pretty good here because I think Sableye's only real attacks and its most deadly attacks are special, so we don't have to worry too much about that. I mean, it can learn Shadow Ball as well, but, you know. Should still be good here. With the Sandstorm whittling it down and with our Stab Dig, we definitely got this. But yeah, back on Animal Crossing, in less than stellar news, the unfortunate has finally happened. So I have a personal rule that once a month, the first villager to ask me to leave, I give them permission to leave the island. And unfortunately, the villager that asked to leave today was Tank. One of 2 villagers that started my journey in Animal Crossing New Horizons. He was there from the very beginning, and it's really sad that I have to say goodbye to him. Like, Tank was just such a good teammate to me. Just such a good friend, too. He was actually the first villager to actually give me his photo, which is a sign that you have maxed out your friendship with a villager. So yeah, it's definitely a very bittersweet moment for me. But given all the time we spent together and the fact that it's the end of the year, I am fine with letting Tank go. I know I'm getting really sentimental about this. I mean, when you really think about it, and a lot of the animals in the game are very interchangeable, but it's your personal experiences that I feel that helps make these characters special. And for me, Tank was definitely special. I know a lot of people don't like the jock characters, especially in New Horizons, but I really liked him. Oh, that is good, that is good! I know I was getting very sentimental there, but yeah. Another good thing about Mantine is that its water absorb is great for taking hits when you're dealing with water types as your opponents. Definitely cannot recommend this thing enough if you manage to get it as a rental Pokemon. Oh, that's annoying. Yeah, Tickle's an interesting move. Lowers attack and defense, which is a pretty good debuffing move. Only a few Pokemon naturally learn it, so yeah, it's definitely an interesting move to get, but I could definitely recommend it. It's a good debuff. And finally, Sablei's coming back. Alright, buddy. End of the road here. What you gonna do to me? Ow, son of a... Mystic Water? No wonder Bubble Beam has been hitting so much harder than your other attacks. We had Mystic Water and the stab bonus? No wonder Mantine's hitting hard with that. That is very sad that your bike's your best friend. Alright, next challenge, battle number 5. Trainer pairs have no clear favorites when it comes to type. So yeah, we can pretty much expect anything from this. Okay, I'm actually thinking of swapping someone out just so we have a bit more type diversity. Also to mitigate our electric weakness by a lot more. Let's go for Tangela. This is actually a pretty decent Pokemon, all things considered. Not one of the best, but it does have good special attack and physical defense. I'm number 1 when it's about power. And also nice about Tangela is that it does get quite a few status moves, which can make it pretty reliable on teams. Alright, leading off with a Shelgon. This thing's interesting. Don't really have anyone that counters it too well. Actually, Mantine. Mantine's good because he has an ice move. Alright, Pupitar, you can just stay on the sidelines for now. I actually got a pretty defensive team here, which is very nice, all things considered. Also, thing to note about these facilities I don't think I mentioned. Held items, of course, are replenished in between battles, so any moves that are... any items that you use up, like berries, or items that get knocked off your Pokemon, they'll be replenished in between battles, so definitely keep that in mind here. Alright, Shelgon should go down to one more Icy Fit. It's definitely a move I got a lot of mileage out of in my gold playthrough. Because my Tentacruel definitely saw a lot of good use with this attack. Being able to take out even Dragonites with it, which was just really good. Really goes to show how good that particular Pokemon is when you have the right setup, even with a move that really isn't too good. I mean, Icy Wind has okay power. It's mainly useful in its secondary effect of lowering speed, because it does have that guaranteed speed drop, which is just really good. Lunatone. Rock-type moves would be a little scary here. I don't know if Lunatone has a Rock-type move in its moveset, though. So, we'll just go on the offensive here with Bubble Beam. What is nice is that we can use Rain Dance to also increase the power of our water attacks even further and just make Mantine very powerful in that regard. Okay, this thing's going for Light Screen. I think I want to boost our power with Rain Dance just a smidge, just so that we're strong enough to handle this Lunatone's defenses. And And yeah, this thing is definitely built as a wall. It has cosmic power, it has light screen. This thing would actually not be too bad on our team if we didn't already have Pupitar. Alright, between the rain, our stab bonus, and Mystic Water, we should be doing some good damage here. This thing did boost its stats quite a bit with Cosmic Power, but it should be fine. Okay, one more hit and we should be good. Yeah, opponent's definitely doing some stally tactics here. Of course, you kind of have to expect this going into these rental battles, where your opponent will just start to use a much more challenging Pokemon as you progress forward. But I mean, it's fine. Also gives you more opportunities to use better Pokemon. And finally, we got Togetic! It's actually one of my personal favorite Pokemon. Just so cute. Not really the best, but still cute. Magical Leaf. That is not a good move to see, considering that one of my primary flying counters is a rock ground type. And this thing, oh yeah, light screen is still up, so yeah. Okay, now the light screen is down, we should be good with Icy Wind here. Oh yeah, this thing also gets Wish. So I don't think I went over it, but Wish is a healing move, but it only goes into effect after the end of... It only goes into effect the turn after the move is actually used. I think under this instance, I'm just gonna go for Bubble Beam, because I think it'll be a bit better. This is gonna be very interesting to see how this goes. Yeah, Bubble Beam actually was a little bit better there. Yep, now Wish is gonna activate, healing up half of its max HP. That's pretty annoying. Alright, I want to get the rain back up in order to boost our attack power, because trying to take this thing out with Bubble Beam seems like our best course of action. We do have that Magical Leap to deal with, but Mantine is tanky enough to take a few more hits from it. Follow me, that's odd, because that's a move that's only really useful in... Are you kidding me? Now, come on, Mantine! This thing hasn't buffed its evasion. That was just very unlucky. But yeah, even if a move has 100 base accuracy, it still has a very low chance of missing, and that's just very unfortunate. Alright, Togetic is almost down. If we can just get in one more hit. Okay, it used Wish. We're good. We can take this thing out. Another interesting thing about Wish is that it still goes into effect even if the user has been KO'd. So, a tactic if one of your Pokemon is very low in HP, just use Wish and then switch in to that Pokemon, and then it will get healed up by Wish. Of course, it has to survive the incoming hit from the opponent, but it's still interesting. Bounce appears to be on one based on total preparation. That is interesting, to say the least. I don't think I'm gonna swap. I'm quite satisfied with the team I've built so far. And our opponent here is... Better not slack off with me! Whoa, dude, TMI. Alright, penultimate battle of this round, depending on how things go. Oof, Relicanth. That's alright, we have a Pokemon that can deal with this. Let's just check your moves right quick to make sure. Yeah, you have Mega Drain. That's pretty good. I mean, it's no Giga Drain, but, you know, it's still going to deal a lot of damage to this thing. Especially because Tangela does have good special attack. Yeah, Tangela's interesting. It does get an evolution in Gen 4, which definitely increases its usefulness a lot, but it's still decent in this generation. It's also one of the few pure grass types you're able to get at this point. We are confused, but I think we can still handle this Relicanth. Come on, Tangela. Just need one more hit in. That's nice, and that should heal us back up all the way. There we go. Very nice. Again, we're getting to see a lot of opportunities of using Pokemon we wouldn't normally use. Alright, Combusken. Definitely want Tangela out of there. Let's go to Mantine. I know from experience what this Combusken's moveset is. Mantine should be more than prepared for this thing. Okay, got a critical hit there. That's right, this thing has Scope Lens. Hopefully Bubble Beam will be able to at least 2-hit KO this thing. Oh, we managed to 1-hit KO it. Nice. Good work, Mantine. See, you're not just here as a tank, you can also deal damage. And our last opponent is Dunsparce. It's interesting, I'll say that. Ugh, it's a shame it got paralyzed there, that's not very good. Okay, I'm gonna try to deal with this thing with Mantine. But yeah, this Dunsparce will be interesting if we have a lot of bad luck with paralysis. And also if I think this Dunsparce is gonna do what I think it's gonna do. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting Pokemon. It has quite a diverse moveset of different moves. It gets a lot of debuff moves, as you can see with that glare, being able to paralyze and lower speed. It has Defense Curl to buff its own defenses. It also has quite an assortment of very interesting offensive attacks. I can get Double Edge, I can get Ancient Power, Rollout. A lot of good moves, especially in later games. It also has one of the best abilities in the series, Serene Grace, which increases the chance of moves with added effects having their effects go off. But its stats are pretty bad, so it's very hard to recommend outside of challenge runs. Alright, time to take on our 7th battle. The trainer appears have no clear favorites when it comes to type. Given everything we've been through, I'm quite satisfied with the team we got. Let's do this. One more round for glory. Can you dig it, yo? I mean, I don't have a shovel on me, but I guess. Zachary! It's actually very close to the name of a friend of mine. Now, this thing will be interesting. I have an idea here. I don't know if Mantine alone will be able to have a good chance against this thing. What I'm gonna do, let's switch over to Tangela. Ooh, Brick Break. It's definitely a good move. And I'm going to use Toxic against this Grovyle, if I can actually hit this thing with it using Double Team. Oh, we actually managed to land that, that's good. And now what we're gonna do, let's switch over to Mantine and we're gonna go to Aerial Ace. Since Grovyle did boost its evasion, having Aerial Ace on a Pokemon is really good, especially in these battles. Alright, between the damage dealt between Aerial Ace and also Grovyle being toxic, we have a pretty good strategy here. There's not much else this thing is really going to be able to do to Mantine, so we're just going to sit back and let the damage rack up. That's nice. Very nice indeed. Oh, that's something I do not want to see. Endeavor is a troll move. I don't know if I actually went over it during this playthrough. But yeah, that damages the opponent and reduces them to as much current HP as the user has. This move sucks to be hit by. It also completely ruins Mantine's tankiness because it doesn't have the HP for tanking hits right now. That Grovyle is a jerk. Alright, between our remaining Pokemon, let's have Tangela poison this Shellknock. think that's what we're gonna do here. And then I think we're gonna switch over to Pupitar and then go for Dig, because I think that'll be our best. Okay, we took that hit pretty well. Okay, we're gonna go to Pupitar, use Dig, and then we're just gonna let the poison damage rack up on this thing. Yeah, I am really angry that Grovyle had Endeavor. That just completely neutralized our Mantine for the rest of this battle. Just goddamn. This will be interesting depending on what our remaining opponent has in its moves. Okay, Shelgon should be going down this turn. Very nice coordination between Tangela and Pupitar. They managed to pull through very nicely here. And our final opponent is Wigglytuff. This thing is gonna be interesting. It's pure normal, which means it has an incredibly varied moveset. Just, I don't know what this thing is gonna have. Alright, just setting up with a Sandstorm in order to deal some chip damage to this thing. And I wanted to waste that Wish, so let's just use Dig so it doesn't get to heal up a whole lot of HP. Alright, it has Secret Power. That is interesting. Secret Power's added effect is based on the environment. And since we're currently indoors in a battle facility, that means that Secret Power can only have one added effect. That is interesting. I don't know what Wigglytuff is actually going to use with that. I mean, it's not going to be all that great because Pupitar resists Secret Power, so we're just going to take those hits very well. Alright, we're going to keep using Dig, keep playing the Sandstorm damage, whittle down Wigglytuff. But this thing does have Wish, and that tankiness could screw us over. One thing I'm thinking, we could switch back to Tangela and go for Toxic. Especially with this thing having Sing. Alright, let's use Sandstorm again. And depending on how things go, we may need to switch to Tangela. Alright, this thing still isn't using Wish, so I think we're actually good. Alright, we should be able to take this thing out with our next Dig. Come on, Pupitar. Really counting on you here. Again, as you can see, these battles really get technical as they go on. We're not having a really easy time in these fights right now. We definitely have to strategize and use tactics that we normally wouldn't be able to use. Okay. Really didn't want to see that. This thing just has very little HP now. We're counting on that Sandstorm just do a little bit. Alright, Bite should be able to get the KO. Let's do this. Yeah! That's what I'm talking about. Breakdown time for me. Oh, that was good. That was a surprisingly clutch battle, all things considered. Considering that Grovyle really screwed us over with Endeavor, we really pulled through in the end. And we get 3 more battle points for clearing that. Not really too much of a difference. So I believe if you do these battles, but you are unable to get to the 7th match, I forget if you get 1 battle point as and to kind of make up for the loss, but yeah. I'm definitely saving that on my battle record. That was a very clutch battle. Okay, we managed to score 14 wins in a row. Why don't we go for win number 21? If we can pull this off, we actually have a chance of encountering a Frontier Brain. Level 50, of course. Oh, this is good. We actually have a chance of encountering the Frontier Brain this session. Now that I say that, things are gonna get completely screwy for us. We definitely need to focus on our team building here. Trainer's apparently skilled at handling of the normal type. Alright, that gives us a good idea on what we're facing. But normal alone isn't enough for us. Because it could be dual type normal type, so we could go up against flying types, we can go up against a psychic type Giraffering. Actually, I don't know if there are any other dual type normal types in this generation besides those ones. But yeah, we're definitely leaning with Poliwrath. This thing will be just really good against them. Oh yeah, this one is Brick Break instead of Submission that we saw before. We're definitely going for Poliwrath. It's a good attacker here. Zangoose would be really good to use here. Oh yeah, look at that moveset. This thing is just built for dealing damage. I definitely want that Zangoose. And for our final Pokemon, what do we want to go for? Jumpluff could be good for dealing... Yeah, this thing is mainly dealt for statuses. Which, given its moveset, it's actually pretty good for that. We can put opponents to sleep, then use Leech Seed and Giga Drain to just leech HP off them. That's a decent strategy. Let's look at the others. Macargo, you're pretty defensive. But you're not really the best at attacking, and you got some good moves on you, I'll give you that. Really? You're not the hardest hitter. Volbeat. You are interesting. You're kind of on the weak side, but you do get Tail Glow, which is Volbeat's signature move. That's only learned between it and one other Pokemon that doesn't exist in this generation. Sharply raises special attack, being one of the few attacks that can actually buff the special attack stat more than one stage. Given its moves, that's actually pretty decent, but its stats are on the low side, and we're going to be facing a lot of hard hitters in these battles. Ooh, Stantler has Intimidate. That's really good for debuffing opponents, and actually has good attack and speed. Yeah, I can see Stantler being actually really good in these fights. Oh man, our current setup isn't really good against... The thing is, we really don't have a good team for dealing with fighting types here. Jumpluff would at least be able to resist fighting types, but it is kind of on the weak side. It does have those status moves that can be really helpful to us. I don't know, between Stantler having a great debuff move and also having good status moves, I kind of want to go for Stantler. This is definitely a very unorthodox team, but I kind of like it. Alright, let's do this. I'm going to be a father! Aw, congratulations, dude! That actually reminds me, Derek from Game Explain actually became a father very recently, and I'm so proud of him. It's so good. See, what am I talking about? Friggin' sends out a Pidgeot right away. Poliwrath can't deal with that. So, let's go to Stantler and debuff this thing with our very, very good ability. Never underestimate Intimidate. This is a fantastic ability to get when you're dealing with the battles here at the Battle Frontier. Alright. This thing did lower our accuracy, but what do I want to do here? Frustration's really our only good source of damage here. We are reasonably fast, so I think we can outspeed this thing. Let's go for Confuse Ray. Alright, hopefully that can deal a little bit of damage back to it. And let's go for the Thunder Wave just to slow it down and also hinder it some more. Okay, it's not very nice that we're getting Mud Slap these many times. Okay, really didn't want to see that. Let's try to Thunder Wave it again. Alright, Steel Wing. It's not a stab move, so I'm not too worried about that. Alright, managed to paralyze it. Time to go on the offensive with Stantler. We really don't have enough HP to safely switch this guy back in. So, we just kind of go on the offensive here. That's really unfortunate. Confusion really didn't help us there. We should have mainly focused on attacking with Standler. That's fine. Alright, Zangoose. You're pretty much the only one that can reliably take out a Pidgeot right now. Go for Crush Claw! It's a very powerful, normal type attack, and it has a nice added effect of lowering defense. Very good. Why the thing had to get a critical hit with Mud Slap? Just why? Let's go for Crush Claw again. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, we are down a Pokemon, but we're still in relatively a good spot. Alright, Ponyta. Poliwrath, what moves do you have? Nothing really good for Ponyta. We'll have to stick it out with Zangoose. Yeah, just keep going with Crush Claw. Oh yeah, our accuracy drops. That's kind of a pain here. Okay, really... There's nothing else Zangoose is going to be able to do for the rest of this fight, so... Yeah, that's really... really unfortunate. I really don't want to see that. Okay, we need to deal some damage to this thing. Let's go for Aerial Ace to completely bypass all that. I should have used Aerial Ace from the start. Jesus. Okay, things are really falling apart for us here. We need to take this Ponyta out tomorrow. I mean, yesterday. Alright, Poliwrath, you should be well equipped to... One strategy I could definitely recommend here, go to Belly Drum to max out your attack at the cost of half your HP, and then use Rest to heal up your HP. Thing is, what is your... Hold on. He has Chest of Berry. I don't really see Ponyta being able to take us out one hit. Let's go for it. Oh, it has Body Slam. That could be bad. Okay, looks like we're good. We can use Belly Drum to sacrifice some HP at the cost of maximizing our attack, and then we're gonna go to Rest. Alright, Flamethrower shouldn't do enough. Alright, watch this. We heal up to max HP. Our Chesto Berry wakes up immediately, and our attack stat is maxed out. Poliwrath, use Brick Break. Look at that. That's beautiful. And it only cost us 2 of our Pokemon. Oh, you frick, duh. And not as slow as Gen 4. Alright, that was a surprisingly clutch battle. My baby will be totally awesome. Here's hoping, man. That was a good fight. Alright, next opponent has no clear favorites when it comes to type. I'm fine with our current setup. There's not really a whole lot that we saw that I'm really that interested in on that guy's team. Alright, what you got, lady? This will be interesting considering what we're up against here. Psychic Brianna. Lickitung. Yeah, Poliwrath can handle this. It could have some scary moves on it, but Lickitung really doesn't have too bad in terms of stats, so I'm not too worried about this thing. Does have Body Slam though, which it does get stabbed. Alright, another Brick Break should handle it. Very nice. Next up is Dragonair. Hey, that's an interesting Pokemon. Don't really have anyone that'll be too good against this thing. I'm actually gonna go for Hypnosis. Okay, that didn't work. And it's buffing itself with Dragon Dance. That's really not good. Come on, can we... Oh, this could be trouble for us. Polygraph, hang in there. Okay, good. We got the hypnosis off. So I think just so that we're back in the... Oh, no, no, no! I want to die. Oh, you stupid twat. Can't believe we pulled that off. Let's heal up, get rid of all this damage Dragonair did to us, and then we're going to go on the offensive here. Oh man, that's scary. Yeah. Dragon Dance can be a real pain when you're fighting opponents here in rental battles. Definitely be prepared to deal with that. Okay, some good damage there. Man, considering that, I could have just used 2 brick breaks from the start of this battle just to take this thing out. Alright, our final opponent is Sea King. Use brick break, dude. Or girl. I'm sorry. I just noticed Polygraph's a girl. My bad. Mega Horde. That is one of Sea King's most strong attacks, but it's also bug type, so it's really not that dangerous for us. Alright, Polygraph, you got this. It's going for rest there. You know, so this thing's gonna be asleep for some turns. Let's actually go to Belly Drum. Maximize our attack and then KO this thing in one fell swoop. I mean, this thing could have sleep talk or snore or something, but no, it doesn't seem like it's too bad. It just kind of wasted its time by using rest. Alright, that's good. Polygraph just completely dominated this team by herself. You have guts and skill. Thank you. The fur match is next. Alright, considering the fights that we had previously, this will be interesting. No clear favor when it comes to type. Battle of Endurance. Okay, that Dragonair is very tempting. Zangoose, I really like you. Stantler has Intimidate, which can be really good. And of course, I want to keep Polygraph, because Polygraph has been very good to us so far. Zangoose is stronger and faster, but Stantler has Intimidate. And it has Laxin Sense. These are 2 really good Pokemon. I don't know which one to get rid of. I might just not switch out. I mean, Dragonair is a really good Pokemon. As we saw its moveset, from what it had some good moves. Like, Dragon Dance is really good. Okay, because Stantler has a bit more utility with Intimidate and also status moves, I think we're going to give up Zangoose for Dragonair. It hurts me to do this, because I really love Zangoose, but that's just kind of what we're going to do here. Hopefully this pays off for us in the long term, because Dragonair is very good. Didn't we fight you earlier? Dahlia? Yeah, we did. Alright, Weeping Bell, that's not too bad. I mean, not good for Poliwrath, because it's a grass type. Dragonair does resist grass, which is good. Go to you, set up with Dragon Dance, and go for Frustration. Alright, let's do this. And also don't have to worry too much about statuses, because we have... Well, for one, we have a Chesto Berry equipped to us, and we also have Shed Skin, which will help to mitigate our status problem quite a bit. Alright, let's do Dragon Dance, buff our attack and speed, so that we are more than prepared for what our opponents are gonna send at us. The Sludge Bomb, that is pretty strong. And it poisoned us. Not good, not good at all. Hopefully we can skin that off of us. Hopefully frustration's enough to take out this weeping bell, because I really don't have anything that's good against. Well, dang. Stantler, could you do something about this for us? Yeah, lower its attack so that Sludge Bomb is less of a hassle for us. And go for frustration. It really saddens me that we lost Dragonair so quickly into this battle. It's such a good Pokemon, and... Okay, Plusle. We should be good here. Seismic Toss, is that really the best you can do against me? Alright, Stantler, you should have a good time with this Plusle. Oh yeah, just get taken out right away. Good. And then final Pokemon is Kadabra. Hopefully we're able to take a hit, or we can outspeed it. Oh, Stantler! Wasn't expecting Stantler to be MVP of this battle, but look at that. It's still really sad that your bike's your best friend, lady, but dang! My bike is a frickin' Stantler. I have no clear favorites when it comes to type. That's possible to predict. Okay, so they're going to be using some out there strategies. Really didn't get to see too much of what that previous trainer could do, so we're not going to switch out any Pokemon. I'm still pretty comfortable with this team. I crush things with psychic power. Okay, that's interesting. Also really doesn't say anything about what Pokemon you're going to be using. Okay, Poliwrath, we definitely want out of this fight. Dragonair, you can get in here. Sorry, buddy, they didn't program in gay Pokemon. Alright, this thing is going to be using Charm on us, but I think Dragonair should be more than equipped for dealing with a Minun. It is annoying this thing has Wish, but we should be able to get the free hit KO. Depending on our damage rolls, obviously. I don't know if we're going to get this one. Yeah, that Charm really affected us there. Okay, it did heal up, which is kind of annoying. Because this Minun really doesn't have anything that's going to be that dangerous for us. I was going to say I was going to try to get her attack back up with Dragon Dance, but this thing's just kind of being a butt about that. Well, this is annoying. I mean, I do have a counter this thing. We can switch to Stantler and then just... Actually, yeah, what's stopping us from doing that? Alright, Dragonair, you had your chance. Stantler, kill it like the rest. Intimidate's really not going to be that helpful, because I don't think it has any moves that we can reduce with that. Yeah, it's going for Wish, but we will be able to take this thing out. Although the next Pokemon coming in will be able to heal up some health that we deal to it. So there is that going against us. Kecleon! I could waste the Wish and just focus on debuffing this thing. Yeah, let's go to Confuse Ray. Just completely waste its Wish. Oh, Trick. That's an interesting move. Causes the items that Pokemon are holding to be swapped. Choice Band. Okay, we're able to use Frustration. I was actually kind of concerned about that, because from what I know about Choice Band, that locks us into only being able to use one move. but it makes it so that we are able to deal significantly more damage with physical attacks. Yeah. Right there you can see immediately why the choice band's frustrating there. Standler really doesn't have anything other than Shadow Ball to take out that Bane. So, only thing we can do now is just switch out. Also, why did I go to Polygraph? He has no moves for this thing. Okay, Polygraph is pretty much out of this battle. What I'm gonna do is try to put this thing to sleep. Oh good, it has Insomnia. Okay, if we can switch into Stantler, we can both reduce its attack and also completely absorb any Shadow Ball it deals to us. Plus, we have the Choice Band, so our own Shadow Ball is going to do a lot of damage, and we're pretty much guaranteed to outspeed it. Alright, I'm actually quite happy with this. Do it, Stantler! Look at that! Once again, I was not expecting Stantler, of all Pokemon, to be the one to really carry us through these later Battle Frontier battles, but just look at him, he's really pulling through for us. Alright, 5th match. Trader appears have no clear favorites when it comes to type. Battle style appears depend on the battle's flow. There were some interesting Pokemon we saw in that fight, but I am quite content with the team we have right now. Come, we will do battle now. You could really use a common that sent us, lady. Expert Chloe. Yeah, if it isn't obvious by now, the dialogue of the trainers in the Battle Tent and Battle Frontier battles all have their dialogue basically formed from basically the word selections you get when you need to enter words for a specific thing that we have seen throughout the game. Ooh, Gorbis, that's interesting. Let's try to hypnotize you. Or that could just fail. Okay. Why do I even bother? Let's just go for the Brick Break and take this thing out. Because I know from experience, this Polygraph is much stronger than I tend to give it credit for. Oh, you have Psychic. Okay. That's not good. Okay. Polygraph could still be useful to us later in this battle. Let's go to Dragonair. There's really no use switching into Stantler right now, since this thing's more of a special attacker. Also, imagine that, we're finally getting a chance to see Gorbis. Hoenn has a Shell Bell, interesting. Okay, for this one, don't need to use Rest yet. Let's go for Frustration. Okay, this thing's faster than us. I mean, Dragonair is an unevolved Pokemon, so I can kind of see that. Definitely taking quite a bit of damage to this thing. If we could just get some good... that's not good. It's not good. Yeah, the Surf is really buffing its power. Okay, what we're gonna do, we're going to use Rest, heal up the damage this thing deals to us, and we should be good here. Alright, when we wake up, I'm going to go to Dragon Dance, and then we should be able to take this thing out with Frustration. As long as it doesn't heal up too much damage from that Shell Bell. This thing's really concerning me right now, because Gorbis is a good special attacker. As you can see there, it does learn some tricky moves like Psychic. It's definitely a good attacker. It's just kind of a shame that it and its other counterpart, Huntail, are just kind of forgotten about in terms of Pokemon. Considering that their method of obtaining is just kind of weird, and also there are so many other water-type Pokemon that are so much easier to obtain, yeah, Huntail and Gorbis just kind of get forgotten about. It's a shame because they are decent. Alright, there goes Gorbis. Dragonair, you really managed to pull through for us. And final opponent is Kecturn. Why not? We got a Dragon Dance buff up. We should be more than able to take out this cactus. I mean, we know from experience that Cacturn really isn't the bulkiest Pokemon. Oh, that's annoying. Teeter Dance, yeah. I still want to ride the coattails of our Dragon Dance buff here. Yeah, let's go for Frustration. At this point, if Dragonair can't beat this Cacturn, we still have a Stantler who will be able to take it out. Alright, did pretty good there. We just need to get past one more turn of confusion and we win this. There we go! Very nice! So the team's doing very well for us so far. Although I must say, if I didn't already have Poliwrath, that Gorbis would be a very good option. I'm kind of thinking here. We have a water type on our team. Water's a very solid offensive type. But our water type does not have a water type move. And as we saw there, Gorbis actually a pretty decent attacker. Poliwrath, you were pretty good for us, especially with your status moves, but I think it's time for a change. Also, how many times can we say that I used a Gorbis in this generation? Let's do this. Alright, battle number 6. If we can get through this, we have a very interesting battle ahead of us. Yeah, yeah! See, even this guy's enthusiastic about it. Let's do this. Triathlete, Carlo! Leading with a Relicanth. Kinda makes me wish I had a grass type right now, or at least considered keeping Poliwrath, but now we're still good. Gorbis should be more than able to take this thing out. Let's start with a Rain Dance in order to boost our water type damage, and then Surf should make good work of this Relicanth. Oh man, getting this far, I'm quite excited if we can get through these fights. Okay, that I did not want to see. Amnesia buffing its special defense. That's just very annoying for us. Especially because, yeah. Gorbis, you do have the Shell Bell, which will be able to keep us here for a bit, but... okay. This is getting a bit annoying. Okay, I have an idea. The next time this Relicanth heals itself with Rest, we are going to... What am I going to do considering my team setup right now? Next time it heals itself with Rest, we're going to switch into Stantler, which will also be good to give it a attack drop. We're going to confuse it, and then that should be able to help us whittle this thing down. Alright, hang in there, Gorbis. Really use a bit more HP here. Alright, pretty good. If get a critical hit, that would be very nice, although chances of that are pretty slim here. Come on, baby. Yeah, if we had a grass type on us, that would actually be really good here. Man, part of me is kind of regretting not picking up that jump buff, because that would have actually been very good for this fight. Alright, what's nice is that, okay. Do I risk going for Rain Dance when this thing is very likely to use Rest? At this point, let's just go for the damage. If we can get a critical hit, that'd be very nice here. No, this is annoying. It's probably going to use Rest very soon if we could at least... Come Come on, buddy. Could you not do this to Oh. Come on, my tankiness is completely based on whether I deal damage here. Ugh, I really needed a critical hit there. Come on. Yeah, Gorbis really doesn't have any more use in the rest of this fight. We're just gonna have to go for the damage here. Unfortunately, yeah. Rock Slide is inaccurate, but it managed to get some good rolls against us. Stantler, I need your help. That will lower its attack power, and hopefully Shadow Ball should be able to bypass all those amnesias that it managed to boost. Go for it. Yeah! Alright, Relicamp's down. It only costed us a Gorbis. Okay, considering that's our next opponent, I'm not too upset about that. Go for Frustration, dude. I am not too worried about Sunflora. It does have a lot of a special attack, but the rest of its stats are so bad it can't survive a critical hit from a stamp. Woo! And God damn it, Relicanth! Next opponent here is Camerupt. As we all know, this thing can be quite the damage dealer. Let's go for Confuse Ray to hopefully mitigate this thing. Now this is a thing I would actually like to intimidate. Okay, actually did some good damage on the confusion there. Let's go for Frustration. Hopefully we can knock this thing out relatively soon. Or just Stantler can be a BAMF and take it out. Seriously, I was not expecting Stantler to be the MVP of this round. Let me take a drink here, because I definitely need it. Don't worry, it's just apple juice. Nothing hard. Excuse me, please. May I get you to wait a few moments? Uh-huh. What? Whoa, understood, sir. Will do. Oh my, sorry to keep you waiting. I have a message from this facility's boss, the factory head. He says, we're gonna do it. Come here right now. The factory head is demanding you. Are you prepared to face him? I'd say I am. I'm terribly sorry, but I can't tell you anything about the factory head. Before starting the battle, would you like to swap a Pokemon? Considering what we were just up against... Like, Stantler has more than earned their place on this team. Gorbis could still be very good here. Dragonair... Oh no, Dragonair's kind of lacking in the stat department for us compared to everyone else. Gorbis got good attack power, decent defenses. Gorbis just kind of lacking everywhere. And Stantler is Stantler. Dragonair, hate to do this to you, girl, but let's look at our other options. Relicanth, as we saw, was definitely a threat to us. Sunflora was nothing, Camerupt was really nothing. But I'm thinking about types here. We have a water type, weak to grass and electric. Camerupt counters both of those. We also have Stantler, which is just generic normal. Yeah, I think this is a good decision, just being able to cover our weaknesses very nicely. Let's bring Camerupt in. Thank you, your Pokemon swap is complete. Right this way, please. Hey, get a move on! Hey, my name's Noland. I'm basically in charge of this place, which is why I'm the factory head. I had a look at your battle swap data. You seem to have the right idea, but you're still square in your head. Listen up, okay? Knowledge isn't only about reading books or doing desk work. Just doing that sort of thing, it may as well be useless. You have to experience things with your heart and your body to understand. I'll take you on under the same conditions as you. I'll be using rental Pokemon too. Shake out every last bit of your knowledge and bring it on! Prepare for one of the best Pokemon songs of all time, as we take on Factory Head Noland. For the most part, every 21 battles you have at these facilities, you'll get the opportunity to take on one of the Battle Frontier brains. Noland here specializes in knowledge, being able to gauge the strengths and weaknesses of Pokemon and able to use rental Pokemon very well. Although this matchup right here is just not very good for him right now. Gorbis, go for Surf. Wow, this thing's actually faster than us. Yeah, Noland himself is an interesting character. He was the first member of the Battle Frontier that Ash took on in the Battle Frontier saga of the anime. And that's why I decided to start things off at the Battle Frontier, because I felt it was only fitting. Let's go for another Surf to take out this Sand Slash. It's going for Earthquake, which is kind of bad, but I think we can take it. That's good. And that takes out Sand Slash. And yeah, Noland's pretty cool. Just like in the games, in the anime, he doesn't use a set team, preferring to specialize in giving his opponents the opportunity of choosing the team for him. And oh, look at that. Dragonair was so upset about us ditching it that it decided to join Noland. And yeah, that confrontation in the anime actually led to a really great battle where Ash actually chose to go up against an Articuno that Noland had befriended. And after getting to see the powerful bond between the two, and ultimately took it on with his Charizard. Just such a great battle, one of my favorites from the anime. I don't really see Gorbis being too useful here in these future battles. Okay, what I definitely want to do is get rid of that Dragonair's attack buff. So I'll have Gorbis Psychic it to do some damage. Alright, that's pretty decent. We'll heal up a bit with the Shell Bell, and then what I'm going to do next... Or if the Sandstorm could subside, please. At least it damages both of us. Let's actually look at this Camerup's moveset. No, I'm probably not gonna... Oh, this thing has some really good moves. I could definitely see using this thing. Let's go to Stantler, weaken this Dragonair's attack a bit, so that's not gonna deal too much damage, and... yeah, we should be able to take this thing out, no problem. Okay, with the attack drop we just did, its frustration shouldn't be too bad. Alright, that's good. And since I know we're faster... Actually, no. It actually... yeah, this is actually bad because it used Dragon Dance, so it's probably going to outspeed. Stantler, I'm pulling for you! Yeah, we got the outspeed! That's so good! Come on, Stantler! Whoa, that is good! Really good! And his final Pokemon is Piloswine, Ice Ground type. I don't know what else to say at this point. Let's just go on the offensive. Come on, Stantler. Bring us home, boy. Okay, it's probably going to take us out, but we'll still be good here, because... okay, it does have Shell Bell, but... I like our chances here. Depending on how things go this turn... Come on, Gorbis. No! Oh, that Earthquake's definitely going to kill. I was not expecting this thing to be fast. What is Gorbis' speed? Just want to check this right quick. Well, no wonder people don't use Gorbis. Okay, we're actually in a kind of a tricky position here. Camerup's our final Pokemon. It's weak to ground. I actually don't know if this thing can outspeed a Piloswine. I don't think Piloswine is that fast. But our speed's only 46. What was Gorbis' speed? Okay, yeah. If this thing can outspeed Gorbis, it can outspeed Camerupt. So pretty much all we can really rely on is hope that Camerupt is... it's really not that defensive. I hate to say it, but we might actually be done here. If we could have switched Stantler out and then maybe switched it back in, we could have lowered Piloswine's attack a bit more, increasing her survivability. We just have to go for broke and hope that Eruption can get the KO. Come on. Come on, Camerupt, hang in there! Hang in there! No! We were so close! That's a Frontier Brain for ya. They definitely give you a good fight. Way to work. That was a good lesson, eh? Indeed. I should have switched out Stantler to someone else, then switched back into Stantler to try to get the Intimidate debuff on that Piloswine to make it a little bit harder to deal with. Good game, sir. You really got us there. Thank you for participating. I'll return your Pokemon shape for rental Pokemon. Let's also save the end results, so please wait. I do not want to record that last battle. And yeah, if you lose before getting to 7 wins, that's it. Your streak is cut off, you don't get any battle points for that. And if you want to take on the Brain again, you're gonna have to do 21 battles in a row again, just to get the opportunity to fight Nolan again. Man, I'm so upset about that. But at the very least, I did manage to actually show off one of the Frontier Brains, even if I was unable to beat him. So I feel like that's still a win in my book. We actually got to see Nolan and get the chance to battle him, even if it didn't end as well as I wanted it to. I really should have played a bit smarter, especially with Stantler, because Stantler really would have been MVP if we managed to lower Piloswine's attack and just take that thing out. No, I didn't want to go into my battle record. But yeah, that is our session of dealing with the Battle Factory. I would have liked to shown what the level 100 battles here would have been like, but I still feel like that is a good stopping off point because we're almost at 2 hours here. So yeah, in between streams, something I definitely like to do is challenge the Battle Factory a bit more, just try to rack up my battle points, and hey, maybe get into another rematch with Nolan and try to come out on top. But for now, I feel like that is a nice place to end it. So next time on Pokémon Emerald, we're going to be seeing just how gutsy we are as we take on the next Battle Frontier facility. Until next time, have a good night and take care.